Hey everyone, it's Dr. Binning from the Functional Health Institute, and I thought we would just jump on this video really quickly because I met up with a good friend of mine, actually a relative of mine, who went through our reset program, and we wanted to get together to share his success, and we wanted to go for a walk with the beautiful background by the water. Um, and then I said, you know what, like, why not just share this conversation with anyone who wants to hear it? And so that's what we decided to do. So I'm going to introduce Ams. He just is in week 8, started week 8?
Week 8.
Week 8 of our Inspired Living, Metabolic, and Lifestyle Reset program. And we thought we'd share his successes and some of the things that he learned and some of the things that he found were really different and things that really moved the needle for him, in case anyone out there watching this was in the same position he was in when he started. And I'll let him kind of share that. So welcome, Ems.
Hello. Hi everyone, how are you? Please excuse me, because I've never done any live or anything like that before. But we'll just try to make this as light-hearted and honest as we can, just to make it easy. So welcome everyone.
So probably we'll keep this short, but I think the first thing we should talk about is, like, when we first talked about you even doing something like this, why don't you describe, like, where you were in your life in terms of your health, maybe mentally, how you were feeling, what you were struggling with, and what kind of led you to take the leap?
It was multiple things that really motivated me to go down this route.
Might have to talk a little louder.
It was more, I'd struggled with like self-image issues and weight issues my whole life, actually, since I was a kid. Weight was sometimes okay, sometimes it was over too much, and I've kind of just had this a poor mental image. And then having my daughter as well, really, she was a big motivating factor for me in terms of wanting to improve my health. She's getting older now, she's nearly 8. But I was like, I don't want to feel like this anymore. And I was like, lack of energy, fatigue, and a lot of it was mental too, actually. That's one thing I'm really surprised with this, is the change how it changes your mindset and the thoughts, even just your regular daily thoughts. So I struggled with a lot of stuff like that, and it was like, a lack of motivation and not having the discipline. So it was generally, I was existing more, actually, to be honest. It wasn't really living. Like, I didn't really feel like I had real control over my life. It was just kind of like, just, it's okay, it's, we're paying the bills and stuff. It's just like a regular kind of Joe. And thing is, like, I felt like there has to be more to life than just that. Yeah. So that was the thing. And like, obviously I'd known Satdeep from before, and I knew that he did this, he had this program. So that was really just, I took the jump. I'm like, I gotta look after my daughter, I've got to be healthy for her, and be around for her, like, as long as she needs me, man. And I can actually live my life. So that was kind of my main motivation behind it.
Well, I think, something you said that's kind of, maybe people will resonate with it, but a very sobering experience is what you just said. If I can quote you, I mean, it's going to be a loose quote, but you said, I was trying to remember your exact words, was, I was just existing. Like, that's, anyone who feels like that, and probably everybody at some point does, because when you realize it, or even if you know it, we can still push off action. And a lot of the times it's because there's a belief in that you're always just going to exist and nothing greater is meant for you, which I think is a complete lie, because everyone has value and everyone has a purpose. It's whether you find a path to step into your purpose, right? And exactly. I know that kind of for you, like you just mentioned, the thing that kind of pushed you to it is the desire to want more, to be more, and to feel more for your daughter to not go through the same things that you were feeling.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, was there, when I know like a lot of people experience something dramatic maybe in the first couple of weeks of this program, was there something you learned or a result that you gained that kind of made you say, like there's something different about this process and I really need to dial in?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think the main thing and the thing that we really can't miss is just the speed with which this whole program works. So one of my main things was losing my excess weight, of course. But I mean, the speed with which it went, I mean, it's just, you can't really imagine that. You think, when we read things, some diet expert and stuff, 2 pounds a week is okay, and we all kind of like fall into that, that kind of pattern. Well, 2 weeks, which is okay. I mean, it's not bad, but I mean, I was down 7 pounds in the first week, and then I was like, okay, like this thing is obviously, and that's just week one, and we haven't really actioned. Like, there's 9 other things, parts of the program that we haven't actioned yet, and and that was really the main thing that you start noticing. But I personally noticed also a lot of change in my thoughts that I was getting, just mainly because I wasn't feeding my body any junk, and so I wasn't getting those kind of messages from that.
So
my thoughts.
I'll ask you a quiz. Okay. So here's a quiz question: is now that you're in week 8, so you still have 2 more weeks to learn, right, and to apply the knowledge.
Lifetime, really.
Exactly, and then a lifetime to implement.
Yeah.
But where would you say? Because most people, the focus always is weight loss is change your food, exercise more, which you didn't exercise at all. No. So now, where would you place down, now that you know different, how important is the food changes that you would have to make, or do they rank somewhere lower on the list than you thought they would have originally?
Food is, I personally, for me, I felt like it was a very important part of it, just simply because of the fact you're not putting in junk in your body, and you're actually limiting yourself. And I would say the word limiting very loosely. Yeah, it wasn't really limiting, because we still have a wide range of pretty much eat anything, obviously as long as it's clean and everything else. Food is important, but I think more is just the fact that, why are you doing this? And that is really has got to be at the forefront of it all. I mean, if you don't have, sadly, he drummed that into me, like, from the beginning, was the fact that that has got to be the strongest. That's the strongest part of the program. What are the reasons for you to put your, like, fix yourself, in a way, is all right, like, okay, now enough is enough, and now I need to, like, really, like, concentrate on this, because it doesn't just, you don't just lose weight, like, you change, like, become a different version, right? So.
Well, you're leading into my next thing I wanted to ask is, why don't you give them the scale wins and the non-scale wins that you've got in 8 weeks? Okay, because I know you were about to say them anyway, so just,
okay,
let's set you up.
So I'm down 40 pounds. Like, this morning was 40 pounds, and that is huge. Like, if you think in 2 months, that's huge. So that was obviously the biggest one. But the non-scale wins, I think, are even, like, probably more important. It's just the fact that now there's, like, a found belief and confidence in myself. Just even simple things like all my old clothes that used to fit me, like, I never threw them away, because I'm like, one day I'm gonna fit back in these, and that's exactly what's happened. Whether you want to call it manifestation or whatever, like, whatever the word people want to use these days, but that it's just having that, like, myself back, and that confidence back.
What would you say the non-scale wins are? Like, non-scale would be energy levels, sleep quality, happiness, mood, all that type of stuff.
Yeah, so sleep is definitely better, like, just more deeper, more peaceful, not so much like restlessness at night. And it's just a general feeling of well-being overall, actually. That's the, I think, bigger than anything else.
So I know you broke through, like, a big barrier in, like, your personal life, because when we talked earlier, you were like, hey, I've started taking on things that I know I wouldn't have taken on, just like you wouldn't have taken on this journey.
Yeah.
But now you feel like you can. So why don't you share that big thing you broke through?
So I have a passion for music, and I've had since I was a kid. My uncles actually used to have a mobile DJ rig back in England when I was around 8, 9 years old, and so it's always been a passion of mine to go and do that. I did it for a little bit in England, but nothing too serious. Um, but so since I've been in Canada, it's been like 20 odd years. I've never touched my equipment, although I always wanted to. So this weekend, my wife, just without telling me, volunteered me to go do it for a little street party, and it was just amazing. Just the fact that all this time you have these thoughts and visions in your mind that you want to make reality, and then one day when it starts to actually happen, you can't, like, there's no words to really describe it. So it's almost been in that like flow state where you don't really realize what's happening around you. You're so engrossed in your like real passion. That's something that you've really wanted to do your whole life. And yeah, it was just amazing. And it's like it's really just come from this. Like, that's just an example of something. Example of, it's a result of having been in this program and having that got the right guidance, stuff that makes sense, and having that. And that's what I mean. This is just step one. Like, now you think, okay, well, if I can do that, what else can I do now? Like I wrote in my post, right? Like, there's no limitations. It's all just up here. But the thing is, to keep this healthy, you got to like there's certain actions you got to take, yeah, and that's what this program really taught me. It's like, okay, it's very simple. It's not hard at all. Like, your choices, you know what's good, what's not, and just don't put that stuff in your body, because then, at the end of it, like, we can see, like, all you guys that are doing the program, and even myself, like, the results are here. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no denying it, right? So yeah, that's it.
That's really good. Now, because many people who are going to see this haven't gone through this process, right? Okay. I think maybe the place to leave this kind of conversation is, a good place to leave it is on a note of, imagine you could meet yourself 8 weeks ago, before you decided, and you were in between, because like you said, everything's an investment. Your time, your money. I'm the type of person that says, your time is the only real valuable thing we have in our lives.
We're going to get that back.
You can't get it back, right? And so, but I know you had to make a decision to invest the money into yourself, to do something, right? To take action. And so if you could meet yourself, say, like a couple of months before that, where you're struggling and not knowing what to do, and if you should do something, or if you're even worth doing something, what advice would you give to that version of you now?
I wrote in the post too, like, I had a really issue with spending that kind of big chunk of money. Obviously, we know like what times are like now, and so things are a little bit tight. But that was my real, and even my wife was, she's like, oh, it's quite a bit chunk of money to spend, yeah. So that was one of my main concerns as well, to be honest, right at the beginning. But at that time, because there's so much stuff out there now, like every Tom, Dick, and Harry's now is like, on YouTube, and man, people get confused. Like, I was like that too. Like, back then, that time you were talking about, it's just confusion because there's so much stuff. Yeah, right. It's not just, it's not just one or two people. Like, everyone's, and you watch something, you think, oh, this might work. Then you watch another thing, it's slightly different. Oh, this is good. What do? You'll spend 6 months trying a different plan. 6 months later, you'll get a different, and then you'll be just, and I was like, and at that point, I was like, you know what? I need something that I know is going to work. And if that means, okay, yeah, I mean, spending that, it's worth. But when I look back on it now, that really, the monetary value is, okay, it felt at the time, but the feeling that I'm getting now, and the way that I think about myself, the way that my health is improved, it really weighs very little in terms of the result. It's just because now you know that, okay, my world is expanded. Like, it's not a small thing. Like, we're all one with nature, yeah. But like, my whole sphere has expanded, and you can't equate that with whatever money that you end up spending with it here. You can't, because now all kinds of opportunities open up. And all just because your mind has changed, your thoughts have changed, your attitude has changed, the way that you walk has changed, the way that we interact with people, that's changed. Like, it's a whole different part, like a version of you, right? That's what people say. And that brings along with it its own benefits and opportunities and beautifulness
So
that life is about, you know?
I'll try to summarize because I think I know where you're going. Is for sure, you know, anyone has to consider, you know, what's the financial outlay they can do on something. But what you're saying is, how do you put a price on going from existing to living again?
Yeah.
Right? 100%. And so, hey guys, I hope you enjoy this. And please, if you watched, leave a positive comment, just as a sense of encouragement for AMS, because, you know, life is long and the journey is, it's sometimes, now I hope you feel like you're not walking uphill, but rather, you know, you're doing the work every day. So you're walking on a flat surface. And I'm sure you'll keep this momentum for years. And so you never know what your positive words will do to someone's spirit. So please send that over and allow that energy exchange to happen. But I send you all my love for anyone who's watching. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. I'll talk to you soon, guys. Bye for now.
Bye.